If Vi was going to go into a self-destructive spiral, this is what it would look like.
Exactly. Why is she punishing? Okay, if she's punishing, let's take that, Doug. Okay, then let's say this is the interpretation of her punishing herself. Why is she punishing herself?
Why is she punishing herself?
Yes.
I think she sees herself, like her role is to protect others, right? And that's something that she has continually failed at, especially in her own mind. And this, and she's like completely alone now. She feels like she's failed on like all fronts.
Right.
That's her sense of like personal value and like how she perceives herself is just gone down into the gutter. So there's just not. She doesn't have anything to fight for anymore. So she's just fighting to get her anger out.
They show interspersed between the raucous crowd and the smoky bare knuckle boxing rings, in between her practice punching and they show her. There's aerial shots of her alone in her bed in different positions, getting up and hitting this punching bag. Like, it's great. It's great. We get a ton of information about who she is right now, what she's going through.
Yeah.
And there's 3 faces that are intermixed that are not part of the current moment. Powder / Jinx. Caitlyn, which I love because Caitlyn goes from a memory of Caitlyn to like a mirror image of Vi, where she's also like snarling and like self-destructing as if Caitlyn is Vi in the scene. It's a really cool mirroring. And then Vander, we get an image of Vander, and these are, to Brianna's point, these are all the people she lost and used to fight for. Caitlyn's no longer with her. That's why I think that romantic scene in episode 4 was important. It shows that Caitlyn is at least trying to move on. And if you're Vi, that might get to you. That might be ticking you off, and it clearly is. So all the reasons she had to fight for are missing. So now she's just fighting for the sake of fighting, and it's a self-destructive.
If she's punishing herself, to me, the obvious answer would be she's punishing herself because she didn't let Kate kill Jinx. Because at the end of the day, she went down there with the purpose, knowing that Jinx had to die. But then when push came to shove, she stopped Jinx from being killed.
I'll just say that's a logical reason, but she's in pure emotional rage mode. Like
especially if, as a result of Jinx not dying, Jinx gets her ventilation deal off the ground, sends the Gray into Piltover. I think all this is badly done, but apparently a lot of people like died in Piltover or something. I mean, right?
I don't know.
Okay, because Jinx does. We talked about Jinx withdrawing after the missile shot, but she doesn't. Jinx goes into action immediately, redoing the ventilation systems of Zaun, right? And I think this is badly done. That's why I'm actually asking this question. Jinx does not withdraw. Jinx knows that the Gray is being weaponized against Zaun because Vi says that directly. No, we're only using the Gray to clear the street. Right. So because we found out that a source of Caitlyn's power for her family is that they control the ventilation systems. And there's this Gray that is toxic because of the industrial capabilities and whatever. And there were the ventilation systems. And so because of that, and I do not think this was very well communicated at all, but apparently because at least my interpretation of this, because of Vi's words, is that Caitlyn and Vi have dispersed the Gray into Zaun in order to, I don't think kill people, but yes, get people off the streets, a form of chemical warfare against the people of Zaun, with the idea that, okay, if people are off the streets, then when we go in shooting, less people will die. I think that's what they were thinking, although that was never said. But I think that's what they were saying. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to, that wasn't communicated in her montage.
No, it's not communicated in her
montage. Is that she feels a sense of loss with Kate, a sense of loss of like permanent loss with her sister, and that she misses her father. I think that's what was communicated. And so this seems to be a deeper, more primal emotion of feeling alone and isolated. So I got to answer.
Because one more thing about that, because like her biggest role of anything is to be the big sister protector, right? So she failed on that level in her mind, right? And she created the monster, and it's almost like, I think if she could have gone and taken care of the monster, that would have maybe made her feel a little bit redeemed in that. Like, okay, like, I'm killing the one that killed my sister, but she wasn't even able to do that. Everything's still in the same situation it was. And even her, and she lost even Kate, like she's the last person she had that she was kind of
Right.
clinging to for the sense of like normalcy and stability also leaves her. And so she's just alone.
So
And
Heath, you're right in that it's a poor
purposeless.
transition from Act One for where we're picking up. However, I think it's on point for Vi. I think this is a recovery aspect of the storytelling where she's better this way. This is a Vi that I understand just watching as someone who knows the character, and it's a Vi that I could understand. You know, when I talked earlier about the disgrace moment,
be very direct. Why? But if you understand her, then why is she punishing herself? What is your one sentence? Why is she punishing?
Because everyone that she loves and fought for has either turned against her or is gone,
and she
doesn't
feels
have a purpose.
Yeah, she feels
rudderless.
It's partly her fault.
Right.
Because she does a lot. She takes things onto herself that aren't actually her fault in some cases. Sorry.
Yeah, and this is more of the disgrace phase that I was talking about that I thought we missed from Jinx. That a withdrawal usually comes from a disgrace, and I feel like she's withdrawn in a way that makes more sense. Like this, she's not impressive in this. This isn't a feel good montage. This is like, oh, dude, this chick's beating herself up. That she is not doing well, and yet you're like, we've all been there. We know what that's like. We know what that's like, and so I empathized with this self-destructive montage that she was going through.
I disagree with the idea that everybody has turned against her, because it's not like Caitlyn just decided to turn against her. It was because they went down there with the intention of killing Jinx, and then when push came to shove, I couldn't do it. So Kate reacted to that. I mean, Kate reacted, negatively to Vi, but it wasn't just that. Oh my God, Jinx, Powder turned on me. Oh my God. Kate turned on me. No, she did things that caused that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you're right.
Those are things that I want her to fix in the story. I mean, that's what.
Right, you're right that they didn't address that. You're right. I think you're correct about that. That didn't bother me as much.
To me, that's what Vi has got to do. You have this one situation in this season where Vi makes the realization early on that Jinx has to die. And we're going to go down there and we're going to do it. And then a third of the way through the story, she can't do it. She stops the death. Okay, now she's got to do some self-reflection and figure out how do we, I was wrong. We almost did this. She almost died. I stopped it, and a bunch of terrible things happened. She's got to come to terms with this, and she's got to kill Jinx.
That would not be. I don't know. I just feel like that's not exactly consistent with her character and who she is. Like that sense of, like what I was saying earlier, like that primal sense of like she's a protector, is really at the core.
But I know she's a protector, but as a result of her deciding to protect Jinx, she didn't protect anybody in Piltover, and she didn't protect anybody in Zaun, because the people in Piltover died because the Grey was released by Jinx, and then as a result of the Grey being released, Caitlyn became a dictator and killed a bunch of people in Zaun. So she's got to come to the realization that in that moment, I was Jinx's protector, and as a result, I caused a whole bunch of other death. And
it's
that's
interesting.
Extremely deep storytelling. If they had gone with that, because she should have realized the death of Jinx could have prevented other people's death. And if I'm going to be a leader, I've got to think like that. Like, I think that's what is supposed to be there.
What's funny is I actually forgot about Act One, how it ended with the Grey and all that. So
it's weird.
I didn't bring that with me. But you're obviously pointing out that the transition from Act One to Act Two missed some beats here.
It is weird to me, because I went back and I rewatched that several times. And first of all, I don't like that it's an accident that Jinx's ventilation things go off. There's some kind of weird accident or something. No, Vi should have stopped Kate from killing Jinx, and then Jinx throws the switch to kill a bunch of people in Piltover. But I don't understand. Like, I watched the scene several times when all of the multicolored gases erupt in Piltover. I'm like, I don't understand what that is. Like, I've watched that multiple times, and I don't understand what I'm looking at. I think what I'm supposed to be looking at is the chemical warfare of Jinx putting the Grey into Piltover, but I don't understand why it's rainbow colored. It should be gray. If it were gray, I would understand exactly what I'm looking at, but it's rainbow colored, like, chemical warfare that she's putting in. Right. Well, I mean, okay, but so maybe I missed something where she's like, and here's this, and she's like plugging like colored gases into the ventilation system because that's her. But it would have been very obvious that's what's going on if it were gray. But I think that is what's going on. Maybe it is. Maybe I missed like her saying, "Oh, but I'm gonna put my twist on it, and I'm putting my own colored gases in there, or whatever."
I do think it's implied.
Yeah,
it's implied. I would say.
Yeah.
I think it's implied. Like if I'm watching a Batman movie and then purple and green gas comes out.
Yeah.
I know who's up to.
But I'm just saying, you've called it the gray.
That's true too.
Like, you've made a point in your story that this is called the gray. So when it shows up on screen, I feel like it should be gray in order to make sure everybody understands.
That's a weird name for that chemical.
Right. Okay.
Hey guys, I really
the noxious, then it could be different colors.